Hello and welcome. Today we're discussing a growing problem among young people, vaping. Many kids think it's safe because vaping doesn't directly cause cancer, but unfortunately, vaping poses other severe health risks, particularly for young lungs still developing. With me today is Sarah, a mother who has recently received some truly devastating news about her daughter. Sarah, thank you for joining us today. You've recently learned that your 13-year-old daughter has been diagnosed with something called popcorn lung. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, it was a total shock. Popcorn lung is a severe, irreversible lung condition caused by chemicals in vapes. My daughter recently told me she was only 9 when she secretly started to vape. Of course, it was the last thing on my mind was she would be even thinking about vaping. We had no idea. She has been vaping for around 3.5 years, and we're only learning the full extent of the damage now.
What first alerted you that something was wrong?
I noticed she'd get out of breath quickly, even after just walking a short distance. At first, I thought maybe she was out of shape or had a mild respiratory infection. But then, I noticed other symptoms like a constant dry cough and wheezing, which made me more concerned.
Another symptom you mentioned before the interview was also interesting. Can you share that with our listeners?
Yes, for parents listening, look out for unusual breathlessness, or if your child seems to have a persistent cough that doesn't clear up with normal treatments. Popcorn lung can sometimes mimic asthma symptoms, making it even harder to recognize. Also, I noticed she always seemed to spend her pocket money very quickly, and when I asked about it, she always seemed to have a reasonable excuse or tell me she had bought something for one of her friends. But that wasn't true, as she had started to spend all her pocket money on vapes and then hiding them from my husband and myself.
That's heartbreaking to hear. You also mentioned that after catching her vaping, you began researching the effects of vaping on young lungs.
Yes. I was horrified to learn that vapes often contain food coloring, which is safe when eaten as the stomach can break it down. But when inhaled, especially by children, these chemicals get absorbed into the lung walls and cause serious damage, like popcorn lung. Unfortunately, the lungs can't handle this the way the stomach does, and once the damage is done, it's permanent.
Given the impact this will have on her life, do you have any advice for parents who may be in similar situations?
Please talk to your children. Let them know the dangers. Seriously, not just as a no-no. Explain how vaping can impact their lives long-term. My daughter may need a lung transplant one day. That's a lifetime of health issues that could have been avoided.
Do you know why she started vaping so young?
Peer pressure from friends. It's so hard for kids to resist, especially when they're younger and everyone around them is doing it. Kids just don't realize the risks. I wish I had known what to look for and had more conversations about it with her.
That brings me to my next question. What signs should parents look out for if they suspect their child might be vaping?
Look for any lingering fruity or sweet scents, increased thirst, irritability, or coughing. Even mood changes can be a clue. And don't be afraid to ask direct questions. I know it's hard, but it's worth it.
This must have affected your relationship with her. How has this changed things between you two?
It's definitely been hard. I feel guilty for not knowing, and she feels embarrassed and scared. We're working through it, but I'd say open communication is more important than ever now.
And what advice would you give to other parents about discussing vaping with their children?
Don't wait until you suspect something. Talk to them when they're young and make it clear that even though vaping isn't the same as smoking, it's still dangerous. Make sure they understand it's not just harmless fun. Share real stories if you can.
Finally, Sarah, what do you wish you had known about vaping before all of this happened?
I wish I'd known how accessible and tempting it is for kids and how addictive it can be. I thought she was too young to even be exposed to it, but it was right there at school with her friends. I can't change what's happened, but I hope I can prevent another child and family from going through this.
Sarah, thank you so much for sharing your story. This has been eye-opening and very sobering. To all parents out there, these conversations might be uncomfortable, but as we can see from Sarah's experience, they're essential. Stay tuned or subscribe to our podcasts for more on topics that will help your children and teenager cope with modern living. Remember to visit discoverlifeskills.com to see our full range of PSHE educational videos for teachers and parents with free lesson plans and student handouts. If you are a teacher and would like to use our interactive video lessons and a full control panel for all your students, our subscription is only £2 a month and all student registrations are free. Thank you for listening.